It's time for Dart Talk. Brought to you by thedartzone.com. Stay in the zone. Thedartzone.com is an official Cosmo distributor and Windy City Fabricators, America's premier fabricators of orthotics and prosthetics. And Redwood Darts, America's newest tungsten darts. Stand straight and tall and hit them all. Redwood Darts. And now, here are your hosts, Mystery Mark and Steve P.
Alrighty then, we're back.
We are back.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Welcome to Dart Talk. Steve Poncelmo with Mystery Mark. Dart Talk brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, many thanks, Windy City Fabricators, Redwood Darts. We brought back the bobbleheads.
Yes.
We have another one.
I see that.
Carry wood can.
His head actually bobbles.
It bobbles. The rest of them are stiffs.
Nothing.
Yeah, I don't get that. You're going to turn the light on and play with the light? Don't break them. That's all. What's on the show
it doesn't work good.
Lens flare. Yeah, it doesn't really work. I just think it's a cool bobblehead. Because I almost went to that game. I went to the second night game at Wrigley.
Yeah.
Watched Jamie Moyer pitch. I think it was his rookie year. Second row behind home plate.
All right.
Great seats.
Nice.
I used to get great seats at Cup games. What's on the show tonight there, big guy?
Oh, you're asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, I have no idea. Oh, we're going to talk a little Leonard Gates.
Leonard Gates.
He's
Leonard
raced
Gates
for
is
America's Tour title.
Yep, he's the man these days.
A report on the Sydney Australia Masters.
Which I titled Awkward. You'll notice that.
I did notice that.
You're not going to ask why, because you know.
I didn't know I was supposed to ask why now. You told me a synopsis.
You can ask later.
This
That's
is supposed
okay.
to be a synopsis.
That's true. And I did
And
give
you're
you permission to
extending the synopsis.
paraphrase. Well, I thought it was a good joke. Awkward is funny.
Okay. I figured the awkward would be brought up when we actually talked about it on the segment of
This
the
show is getting awkward
Am I wrong?
already. We just started.
All right. We're going to draw the winner of the Cosmo Burnt Titanium shafts.
Which are the coolest looking shafts
We have a
on
list
the market.
of 40 people that are
Right.
in the running for that.
I think it's actually not 40. I think it's 32. Yeah, so we're going to do the
Okay.
drawing. We promoted this earlier in August. So basically, Radical did this thing, and the DartZone.com contributed the prizes. So aside from the prizes, the DartZone.com is going to take one of the people that qualified and send them a set of shafts.
Nice.
Really nice shafts. They're really expensive.
So there will be a winner on tonight's
We
show.
will have a winner. We're going to do the draw live. We'll probably do it. We're going to cut the names up, drop them in this little box. See, we're all prepared. We have a little box. And then we'll pull one. I couldn't get Kate Upton to come and pull it. She's apparently not answering her
that's too
phone
bad.
these days.
Yeah.
That's
That's very unfortunate for us.
it's ridiculous.
Apparently, something happened to our power rankings. We will explain this.
We are going to, we're going to address the power rankings. Yeah,
Okay.
we'll address that.
Not now, though, right?
Later
are you
in the
done
show.
With that? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What else is on the docket, basically?
But apparently, we will speculate on Larry Butler's.
Larry Butler's glasses.
Glasses.
Yes, we're going to do that. We will definitely
Is this
speculate
like
on
his
those.
eyeglasses or drinking
This
glasses?
is just like kind of a joke on my part. That's all.
Okay.
But we'll get to that.
And expound on free play,
Yes.
which I have no idea what that means.
I
So
figured that you wouldn't.
you need to expound for me as well.
Yes. Well, you will understand it when we talk about it.
Okay,
because
good.
it's based on a conversation I had driving the beloved home from her singles league last
Okay.
night. So I'll convey that. Run the disclaimer, and we'll start with the free play.
The views, opinions, rants, and rampages expressed on Dart Talk do not necessarily reflect individually or collectively those of our sponsors, co-sponsors, wannabe hosts, hearing-impaired critics, or those with a penchant for attitudinal dysfunction. We at Dart Talk strive to provide you, the listener, with an educational, entertaining, and fun-filled experience each and every week. If after the show you, the listener, find yourself feeling uneducated, unentertained, and or bored, we at Dart Talk consider that your own problem.
It's the only true bobblehead. I mean, it bobbled.
Gale Sayers bobbles a little.
None of them. Does ESPN, when you watch ESPN, do they bobble? They're bobbleheads, or do they just all static?
I've seen them, but I haven't paid attention to whether the heads actually bobble.
Well, hopefully, I'm not that I want to imitate ESPN, but I mean, they're not the only people with bobbleheads. I mean, that's all. Did you know we had a new sports radio station in Chicago?
87.9, I believe it is. Yeah.
Did you? How long has it been there?
I don't know. I would guess a year.
Okay. I'm always last to know.
But I haven't never listened to it.
Well, they're simulcasting the morning show on TV.
What morning show?
The whatever morning, Dave Kaplan and
some
Hoff guy.
David Hoff.
Is that
David
who?
Hoff?
Yeah, whatever.
Haughh. I don't know if it's David Haw, I believe.
I watched it for a while, and then I listened to it. It's nice listening to sports talk in stereo, So I like the whole FM thing, but they should hire us.
I don't think those guys are really that good.
That's why I said they should hire us.
David Kaplan runs like the Sportsnet 5 o'clock round table show, and it's just not that good.
It's all just sort of, there's nothing there. Mm-mm. There's no pizzazz. There's no nothing. Kind of like our show.
Yes.
Okay, so free play.
Why
here's
would
the deal.
They hire us?
Well, here's the deal. There's two stories that I will convey very, very quickly to get to my point. One is
that's going to happen.
Yeah. One is the idea of free play. Obviously, if you're electronic players, it means hey, you don't have to put in quarters. That's not what. It's in quotes because that's not at all what I want to talk about. Okay. So love of my life plays singles league last night, and she's been having a hard time getting her first start in. She's been leaking them into the ones, sometimes. So she tells me, she's like, "Oh, it was so aggravating. I put one in the one, and then I was just like." And I just whipped it right in the trip 20. And I'm like, there you go. That's what you need to do. You have to learn to play freely, right? And then I told her this story of the first blind draw that I ever won, where I had a partner who was telling me how to play cricket because I was just a beginner, and I didn't know anything about anything, pretty much how I am now. So finally, we're losing.
Time out. There was a point in your life where you didn't know anything about anything?
Yeah, well, that was self-deprecating humor. Don't think I really believe that.
Okay.
No, but when it came to cricket, I was always like, well, what do you do? Why do you do this? I was trying to learn. I asked a lot of questions.
Sure.
So I probably detracted from his game because he was explaining to me every turn why to do what I did or why to aim at what I aimed at. Anyway, finally, we're losing to two real good players, Bob Lang and Ron Johnson. They were state champion cricket guys, got paired together in this draw. So he just goes to me, he's like, look, just throw them at the trip 16 and don't think of anything else. And I'm like, okay. Boom. Top corner of the trip 16. Boom. Bottom corner of the trip 16. And I'm looking at it. I can't even see any green. And I'm like, well, he said don't do anything but 16. So I kind of went up on my toes and went, wham, and 9 count. The other guys were just astounded. I threw that thing as hard as I could. But the point that I've been trying to get to Jill and to some other people is that you have to be able to play freely if you're going to succeed.
Yeah.
So I was watching the Sydney Masters, and that's the one thing that Taylor does against everyone except Van Gerwen that I've noticed in the last 18 months. Taylor, he may do it almost kind of gamesmanship, but he did something to Bunting that screwed Bunting up so badly that I think Bunting missed 19 of his first 20 doubles and got blown off the board.
Wow.
I mean, it was and they weren't just missing. They were missing by an inch, inch and a half.
Yeah.
I mean, they were huge misses. He's going for the 9 and he's outside the 14. I mean, it was just, really horrendous for a guy. Taylor was on 85.
Yeah.
So what do you think he shot his first start at?
Double ball.
Yeah. It's exactly what he did. That's not how you take out 85. I've never seen Taylor go for the bull on 85. He just felt like it. But because he felt like it and he just decided to do it and he ended up, taking out the out.
Yeah.
I believe after Bunting missed
Did he hit the
two
double
atop.
or the single?
He hit the double.
He did hit the double.
Yeah, fat 3, double 16.
Okay.
And, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, there's no way you can argue for this shot. Because you're basically turning a 2-dart out into a 3-dart out.
Right.
No matter what you hit, you're on it's a 3-dart out. Right?
Sure.
And, whether you go trip 19, trip 15, you're going to get 2 at a double. Taylor doesn't seem to care. And that mind blew bunting, I think. That was the only explanation I could give for a guy that had played relatively decently. I mean, he didn't really belong in the final because he was blowing people away. I mean, Peter Wright gave him a top 8 match. I mean, Wright couldn't hit anything, like doubles-wise.
Okay.
I mean, he missed, I don't know, his doubles percentage
but
was
what do you
probably...
think? You think he goes for 85, hits a double bull, and then actually takes you out, and his bunting thought process is just,
because
the
Phil,
guy can do whatever he wants, I'm screwed?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more than that. I think it's a matter of, like, this guy is so confident he thinks he can goof off playing me and still win.
Or you get upset that he's goofing off, and then you just completely lose your composure.
You lose your focus.
Yeah.
Like, there's a couple of people. There was a guy in Chicago that always used to, like, go to one knee.
Mm-hmm.
And why on earth would you do that? Well, because I can. I don't think I never saw him really hit anything on one knee. And then he wanted me to try it, and I went down on one knee, and after about 5 seconds, I'm like, man, this hurts. My knee hurts. I mean, Catholic schools, at least you get a little padding, I mean, when you got to kneel all the time. So, I don't know, it was kind of bad. But the idea here is that if you play freely, and if you play with confidence, you play your best. And if you cannot play freely, you have to learn how. That was like kind of the whole point to that thing. Are we on a break yet?
No, not yet. But I can totally understand. But you
see what I'm saying though?
But you also have to take your opponent out of it. You're playing the board. And if you watch what your opponent's doing, regardless of whether he shoots
But you don't have to play the board. Phil Taylor likes to play the guy.
Yeah.
In cricket, a lot of times you can play the guy. And it was kind of funny because, I'm listening to these guys.
General statement is in 501, you're playing the board, you're not playing the guy.
That's what I've always thought.
Playing the board.
Yeah. Well, no, cricket, you have to play the guy.
Or that's what I meant.
Cricket, you play the guy. But in 01, you don't really have to play the guy,
right.
But you can.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird mental thing. But I've seen guys who do that. They play 501 like they're playing the guy instead of the board,
right.
Which I'm not sure that that's the best way to go about it, but
well, it works if the guy that you're playing against sees it. If the other guy if your opponent's just like, well, I'm just playing the board and it doesn't get affected by it. But apparently, from what you're saying, bunting got affected by it and that it worked.
I've seen it affect people.
Yeah.
I remember like league matches where, I had 80 left and I go double top, and the guy falls apart.
Yeah.
Right? Or, you hit like a big shot or you hit a big finish and the guys fall apart. Well, I'm not sure that that's the same thing as what Taylor did. Taylor seemed to like kind of deliberately do something unorthodox on purpose. And
hit it.
Because it bothered him. It bothered him in the World Championships last year. He was playing people that kind of didn't really know their numbers too well, and he was like, what is this? And it actually threw him off. Right? Because he's I'm playing somebody who doesn't even know how to take this stuff out. And then they do it the wrong way, and they hit it. And, he blows a gasket.
Doesn't that blow your mind?
It used to. It doesn't anymore. Now
right.
I sit there and I'm like, oh, wow, this is going to,
Think about it from our perspective. I see that a lot too. And it's like, yeah, when you first start knowing what your outs are and what you're supposed to do or the options you have, and people do it completely different, you kind of lose your mind a little bit. But after you play enough, well, in his aspect, playing that high level, and all of a sudden he's playing people that do something completely different.
Well, I don't know. Like, Jill's opponent came out because I went to pick her up, so she didn't have to drive after the match, and she was telling me about this one leg where she had 120. She was on 120 and she threw 2 fat 20s. So she's on 80 with 1 dart. And she went for the 16 and didn't hit it, but, kind of came close. And then some people were telling her that's not really the thing to do. And I'm kind of like, well, you got 1 dart in your hand. You're not on a finish. So how are you going to help yourself the most? I mean, if you've already missed 2 darts at the triple 20 and you don't feel confident that you're going to hit it, well, 16's not the worst place to go. Yeah, I didn't. But apparently they were kind of telling her not to do it that way. And I'm like, well, it depends. Where are the darts? Where are they laying?
Well, that too. But
can you see the
the
double 20? Are you afraid? If you don't like double 20, by all means go for the 16.
The only difference between 60 and 64 is an extra dart at the double, but you also have a non-bust dart.
Well,
which is
yeah, you do, but at the same time, 60. If you do it properly, is like a very routine finish.
Top,
right. You lay one on the bottom wire and throw one over the top of it, and life is good. But
but not for brass and nickel players.
Well, even people that are like rated low have all hit 60 out at one time or another. So who's the mental workings of a I don't want to say a beginner. The mental workings of somebody who's not a high-rated player but has a lot of experience. Part of the reason they're not high-rated players is they don't think about the game correctly. That's how I came across, or that's what I came away with from this conversation I had with this woman. Because they have all these negative thoughts in their head, and they have all this angst in their head, and it's like, do you really think that, a pro goes up to the line saying, geez, if I miss this or I miss that? It's no. They go up there with confidence, like I'm going to hit that, and boom,
right.
Anybody who plays league darts.
One of the problems with 60 is people go up there and go, I don't want to hit the double 20 first. Throwing high to go high and then follow it into the
beats
double.
The alternative.
I agree, but that's what people think because for some reason. When you play enough darts, though, you should be hitting double 10s. You should have the opportunity, but but it's the negative thought process that you're talking about. They go up there and go, I don't want to hit the double 20, and so they leave it low and bust.
The first time I ever played soft tip was one of these deals where anything could be a finish. Like if you're on 17, you could hit a fat 17. And I left myself, right? Yeah. So it's open out, I guess what they call it. I left myself on some very simple thing, like it might have been 17. And I go and I look, and all I can see are the triple and the double. And I'm like, well, I don't want to hit either of those. And I almost froze. I was like, this is just weird because, you're surrounded by things that could bust you.
Right.
And then I think, my first start, I threw like below the double, and I'm like, okay, well, don't do that again. So you hit the fat number, but I mean, it's kind of funny how your mind, darts is such a mental game.
Right.
And if you can't get a handle on your own brain, even the best people like Stephen Bunting, fall apart.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy missed like 19 of 20 doubles. Some horrendous.
Really, and then
horrendous
you miss the
display.
First 6 or 7, and then your mind just keeps going. It's just.
Well, yeah,
worse and worse and worse.
And that's the other thing, I was, because the low-rated players, they want to tell you about these disastrous legs they threw, and I'm like, you need to forget those.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell me about the good stuff you threw. The bad stuff, I don't want to hear about it.
Right.
You shouldn't be thinking about it. You should forget it the minute it happens because it's just this. I remember when I was in a putting slump back when I played golf every day, and I was a competitive golfer, and I tried everything, and it got worse and worse. And finally, I'm like, you know what? I put the sticks in the closet for like a month. Came back and shot, 67 and made like a bunch of bombs, and everything went in. And the reason that I was successful that day, I was convinced, was because it took me a month, but I had to forget about all these crappy putts that I was hitting.
Yeah.
Right? And just forget and start over, and it worked. You have to do that in the middle of a dart match. If you have a bad leg or a subpar leg, or you give one away, or whatever, you have to forget it and you have to move on, and you can't get emotional about it, or you're
it's
dead.
Just gonna,
And now that people are playing longer and longer formats, this is something that everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people have to kind of keep in mind that, geez, You got a long way to go. It's one leg.
Right.
Move on. Let's go.
Especially in long format.
And if you look at good players and you look at successful players, they're just like, oh, on to the next one. Okay. And the ones that don't do that fail.
I agree.
All right, let's take a break, and then what? We'll do the drawing.
Okay.
We'll do the drawing. Okay. You listen to Dart Talk with Mystery Mark Steve Palancioma. We'll be back with the Radical Super Ranking. What is it called? Super... Okay, we wrote it down.
My papers hit the floors.
Oh, nice. Well, you can get those during the break. We'll be back in a minute.
The views and opinions expressed on Dart Talk are those of the hosts. They in no way should be misrepresented, misinterpreted, or made to claim that the universe is against you, your family, your city, or the darting community at large.
Okay, back for the second quarter of Dart Talk, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
That was slow. TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, thanks Windy City Fabricators and Redwood Darts. So, what is it now? It's the Radical...
The Radical August Super Ranking
The
players.
Radical August Super Ranking Players. So, you had to play a certain number of games to qualify. And
Over 40.
Over 40 games for the month of August. And there's 32 players that qualified. So, we're going to read their names off real quick. And then I'll talk about the what they're going to win while you cut up the names. And then we'll put the names in a box.
Pardon me while I get organized.
You haven't had to read names in a while. I was actually curious how this was going to go.
Oh,
so
this is
I'm
gonna
actually
go,
fascinated.
This is going to go poorly. That's what I'm going to tell you right now.
All right, let's go.
All right, we got Ron Spadafora from Virginia Beach. Tim Lappy, or is it Lape?
No idea.
Okay, Tim Lappy, Lape, also from Virginia Beach. Tim Hollerman, Virginia Beach. Jim Yates, Lee Summit, Missouri. Matthew Martineau, Rockford, Illinois, or Rockfords.
I'm pretty sure that's Rockford.
Davy Jones, or it should be Dave Jones. Blue Springs, Missouri. Randy Hughes, Flower Mountain, Texas. Mike Trimble, Blue Springs, Missouri. Mike Lewis, Emporia. Oh, did I say Trimble?
No, you said Trimble.
Oh, Tribble.
Right. Oh, that was a Freudian thing.
Yeah.
Probably.
Blue Springs, Missouri. Mike Lewis, Emporia, Kansas. Britton Merritt, Newark, Delaware. Chris Swift, Fort Worth, Texas.
Okay. And there's more.
Yet there's more. Kicker, Stephen Butler.
It's Steven.
I know. I just do that all the time.
Why can't Americans read? Stephen has an A-N. Or an F in the middle. You did that on purpose,
I did
just
it
to
on
irk
purpose,
me.
Yes.
All right.
Kicker Stephen Butler, Virginia Beach. Homie Herb Lorena, Yuma, Arizona. Big D, Darren Ellison, Lee Summit, Missouri. C Note, Cardi Carl, Blue Springs, Missouri. Fry Daddy, Shannon Fry, Virginia Beach. Johnny Salazar, Houston, Texas. Lori Merritt,
Dark
Newark,
Sid. That's a good nickname.
Delaware, right?
Yeah.
Sharon Pesapane, Newark, Delaware.
Pesapani, I think.
Pesapani. Mike Lortz, Florissant, Missouri. Jim Farrelly, Virginia Beach.
Florissant, Missouri. You know where that is?
No.
It's right. I think it's right by Ferguson.
Oh, is it really?
I think so.
Oh.
Yeah, it's.
Okay.
I think they're close.
Monkey Poo, David Boyer, Fort Worth, Texas. Worthy Cunningham, Dallas, Texas. Dewey Jeff Cox, Richardson, Texas. Billy Ciccone, Newcastle, Delaware. David Rice, Kansas City, Missouri. Stefan.
Very good.
Doncevic, Richardson, Texas. Bill Snenden, Dallas, Texas. Nathan Mills, The Colony, Texas. And let's see, we got Gary Walls, Virginia Beach. Ron Howland, Houston, Texas. And Johnny Scales, Fort Worth, Texas.
Okay, so you're going to cut the names and put them in this box one by one. Make sure you do it on camera so everybody knows it's on the up and up. Yeah, it's funny, I thought Dark Sid was a good nickname. That's one thing about the soft tip community is they do everything with nicknames, and I don't know where some of these people get nicknames, but it is what it is.
Well, some of these weren't even nicknames.
Well, talk into the mic if you're going to talk, but the
you can't talk and cut at the same time.
Okay then. Okay, this is going to take
double fold or triple fold.
Just once is fine. It might. Yeah. Okay. This may take longer than I thought. I'm supposed to vamp while you cut up all these names. This is going to take forever.
That's going to be a problem?
Oh, dear. Well, the funny thing was somebody posted, I think it was Chainsaw, was like, what's your favorite team name, for a dart team?
Yeah.
And some of the, it's a chance to get creative and stuff. The one I posted, my all-time favorite was the Wire Warriors. I always thought that was like the best name for like a league dart team. All the other names.
That sounds good.
Yeah, I get too clever with the names I come up with. No one understands them.
No, all the other names, the other names have something to do with alcohol or
something like a little bit underworldish.
Right.
Yeah. Are you going to play League? League's starting next week. Are you going to play?
I just found out today that League starts next weekend. I'm probably going to play, yes, but according to what I saw, the travel schedule looks awful. I have to miss the first week because of work anyway. I have a meeting.
Okay.
So
I may be subbing on a team. Somebody asked me,
said.
And I can't even remember. It's been a couple of years since I played League. And
we were talking that
all the top-rated players quit years ago, and I'm kind of thinking, who's gonna be left? Who's left?
I think I'm going to do it, but I don't know. It's
they're going to let
tough.
You after that display in the playoffs. All's forgiven.
No. I might be the last. I might be playing.
They're going to cut your playing time.
Yeah.
Put you on the practice squad.
Are you kidding me? They should.
No, it's just one game. You're supposed to forget about it. The fact that I keep bringing it up isn't going to help.
I was going to actually bring that up in the last segment when you talked about giving it up or getting it out of your mind, and I'm like, how can I do that when you keep bringing it up?
Yeah, I'm terrible. I know. I'm an evil person.
No, that's the plan, but it's really, literally the out of the 4 bars that we have to play, none of them are close. One's close. One's close, and the rest is a huge travel.
This is where decisions get made by a league for the wrong reasons, and the players end up suffering. It happens so many times.
Yeah, but who's to know what the other teams are in?
You don't take teams in a city league. You don't take suburban teams and put them in the same division with the city teams. And the only reason that these guys did it probably is because they're board members and they we need players, we need teams, so we'll take them no matter where they are. As opposed to look, we may need players and teams, but we don't need them out in the middle of nowhere.
Not a name, it's garbage.
Okay, let's get rid of it. I'll tell you, these shafts are nice. Whoever's going to win these the Cosmo Titanium shafts are fantastic. I was using them for quite a while, and I was like totally happy with them. But the burnt ones, I couldn't find a picture that was big enough to blow it up so everybody could see them. But they're almost like the way you would like customize a paint job on your car. You know how guys used to, like with the race cars, they would like put like flames or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really kind of cool the way they do it. You see a little purple, you see a little. It's just like, it's hard to describe, but they're really cool. And it was funny, people don't take what I say to heart all the time on the show, right? Which, who could blame them?
Right.
But I was saying for a long time how these carbon fiber shafts were like absolutely the best thing to ever happen to the sport as far as like improving your game, right? And some people, obviously, don't believe me. Well, one guy didn't believe me, and I gave him a set of carbon shafts. And I can literally, he's like, you're never getting these things back. They're so awesome. And he's convinced that it's improved his game, which is exactly what I told him would happen.
Right.
There's a reason they're popular. There's a reason. If you look at all the top guys, they're all using them. And I tell you, even though some of them like, get them for free from their sponsors and stuff, they'd pay for them if they had to.
Yeah.
Because they're worth it. So now the titanium ones, though, the only thing I'll say about the titanium as opposed to the carbon fiber ones is the titanium ones are a little bit heavier. So that may affect, whatever, butterfly wings kind of thing.
I want to get back to this. You might actually play in League this year.
Yeah,
you're not
I'm
sure
not,
yet.
Well, somebody called me up and he's like, "Hey, can these guys asked me to be on a team, but I can't make it every week. You want to come be a sub?" And I'm like, immediately like, "Oh, a sub? That means I got to show up every week."
That's what happened.
That's what they always happens when somebody says. But I'm like, it's right down the street from the studio, their home bar.
Okay.
And I'm like, yeah, sure,
Well, that's
I'll
all right.
play.
Yeah, that's. What about the other 5 times?
Well, I don't know. What difference does it make?
You're only a sub, so it
that's why we moved the show from Tuesdays anyway. Was so you could play League or I forget.
No,
we used to do the show on
moved the show on Tuesdays because of your travel. You were traveling way more a year and a half ago.
As opposed to this year, which is now I'm not going to Lake Erie. There's another tournament I'm not going to.
But we moved the shows to Wednesdays because you needed time to decompress after coming home from.
It was rough getting the show together, coming back on a Monday. And then having to do the show on Tuesday.
It actually had nothing to do with League.
Okay.
And now it just so happens that since we don't do it on Tuesdays, we can play League.
Oh, what a happy coincidence! I don't know. Chicago's a little different. I mean, a lot of people play League on Wednesday nights. And it seems like Wednesday night's a good night for League. It's in the middle of the week.
Windy City doesn't have a Wednesday League though, right?
Well, because they've always done Monday and Tuesday. I mean,
right.
So obviously, since we've always done it this way, we can't change.
No, why would you?
Because why would you do something like, hey, let's start having holidays on a Monday? Why would you change something? I'm not that I'm for that. I mean, the whole idea of like 4th of July fireworks on the 2nd, I hate that.
Yes.
I hate that you can't do stuff on the right day.
Everything changed. They don't do it anymore. Taste of Chicago doesn't even happen on the 4th of July anymore.
I know. It's they're going to cancel that thing anyway. I mean, that thing kind of went downhill. But at least Christmas is on Christmas.
Right.
I mean, Easter and Thanksgiving are always different days of the year. But at least New Year's Day and Christmas Day, you know what day of the year it is. You don't have to go check. Are you done yet?
One more?
Okay.
Get off my back.
Golly, I'm not. I'm just sort of like, I got off these shafts, but these titanium things are somebody's going to be awfully happy. Whoever wins, we ought to get them to call in the show like a month after he gets his shafts and tell us how they were.
Right.
Because I think they're great. I think they're fabulous. And if you look at any of the top guys, I can't think of one of them that isn't at least using carbon fiber. Although, to be honest with you, the funny thing is the Brits. Like, I'm looking, I'm watching, like, Stephen Bunting and Michael Van Gerwen. They look like their darts are 20 years old. Some of them are using, Simon Whitlock still uses those candy stripe nylon shafts with flights that don't match. And I'm like, dude, I understand you're one of the best players in the world, and these are the ones that got you there. But do you really think that, technology from 30 years ago hasn't improved? I mean, seriously? Is
Right.
is that? And
that's the thought process of a lot of things.
It's called
Why
groupthink.
change? Right.
It's called groupthink. It's all these people kind of like get their heads together and reinforce their own bad ideas, and because everyone agrees with them, they think they're right. And then they don't really talk to anybody outside their own circles, so they never know that there's the world's not flat.
There's no name on that.
Uh-oh.
That was the top.
Oh,
Just so
right, the
nobody thinks
top of the thing.
So nobody thinks I'm throwing one
All right,
away.
I am going to
By the way, we're due for a break.
Are we
I
due
think
for a
this
break?
would be a bad
no,
time.
we can't.
This would-
Oh, no. They'll think we rigged it for
This
sure.
would be a bad time to take one.
Is my name in here? Because I could use a set of these. The burnt ones are really cool looking.
My name is in there.
You should. Well, okay. These aren't really shaking.
I should
Here,
just
let me
get a
kinda
set for doing the show.
You think?
Wouldn't that be great?
I don't know. You should put that in the chat. See what happens on that one. I'm pretty sure I know what's gonna come out of it.
Where's my
All right.
set?
So do you want to pick one?
Where's my set?
Yeah. Do you want to pick one? Do you want to pick the name?
Sure.
I kind of shuffled them around. Okay, here we go. So here's the winner of the Cosmo Titanium Burnt Shafts, compliments of the dartzone.com. And we have a winner. Who is our winner?
It would be Herb Lorena from Yuma, Arizona.
Homie wins from
Homie
Yuma,
Herb
Arizona.
Lorena.
Herb
Lorona.
from Yuma. He's got a sense of Yuma.
Yuma.
What's his nickname? Homie? Okay, so Homie. Can you? Okay, well, I don't think they're going to be able to read it.
If they zoom in, they can read.
Well, okay. So anyway, that's our winner. So congrats to him, and thanks everybody for playing, I guess.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I don't
He'll be happy.
do you know this
look at
guy?
that,
Do you know
number
him?
13.
Oh, he was number 13. Well, there you go. Okay.
My favorite number.
All right, so we're going to take a break, and we'll come back with talking about the other stuff we said we'd talk about that I don't remember where we are. So, but we'll be right back.
Dart Talk agrees to adhere to the Geneva Convention in treating fairly its prisoners in their war against lackluster darting administration and behaviour.
Okay, back for the second half of Dart Talk, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
The DartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. And that's Boo Boo, by the way, in the
Boo Boo.
background. That is Sam the intern's pet llama.
Llama?
Llama.
Llama.
Yeah, the L's apparently are not silent. I was thinking of Yuma.
I know. It's Yuma, Arizona.
Have you ever been to Yuma?
I have not.
Okay.
No.
I don't know where that is.
I have no idea.
It's in Arizona somewhere.
The only part of Arizona I think, well, no, that's not true. Never mind.
I've only driven through it.
I've been to Arizona, obviously on the border of
I stopped
Las
in
Vegas,
Windsor.
But no, I've been to Scottsdale and other places too.
I stopped in Windsor. I actually
Actually,
pulled
they got
off the highway.
Really good golf courses out there, obviously, but yes, I've played a few. They're nice.
I stopped in Windsor once. I was driving to Oklahoma City from Los Angeles, and I was like, Windsor. And you know the Eagles song, Standing on a Corner in Winslow, Arizona? So I was like, well, I wonder if anyone's standing on a corner. So I drove through there.
Was anybody?
No. Actually, I saw a girl walking.
But not standing.
Well, I don't
So
know.
it
I
didn't do the
probably
song
creeped
any
her out. I
merit.
was doing like 25 miles an
Yeah.
hour down some side street, and then this girl's kind of walking, and she's just staring at me, and then I kind of look at her as I'm driving by, and I'm like, okay, this
Were
is...
you blasting the song?
No.
I'm on the corner, Winslow, Arizona. Oh.
No, but, I used to like the Eagles, so it was kind of one of those things. So we played it in the band I had in high school. We played that song, so... so what are we
good to
talking
know.
about now? What have we not talked about we're supposed to talk about? Oh, awkward. Okay.
Oh, I thought you meant this was awkward.
Well, no, here's the thing.
This is awkward.
Here's the thing. I don't know what this song was, but when Stephen Bunting came out for the final against Phil Taylor, they played some song, and the only word I could really understand, because it was one of these modern rock tunes where it's like, yeah, there's lyrics, but you can't really understand a word they say, was awkward. So I don't know if that was the name of the song or what the deal was, but everybody makes fun of this guy. He looks like Peter Griffin from Family Guy. That's what everybody... Is that his
That's what
name?
everybody says, yes.
Yeah, and he kind of does. I mean, he's got kind of like, this youthful kind of baby fat sort of pudgy face, and he's got glasses, and, he's a little on the heavy side probably. Some darters are. He's got a weird...
We all are.
He's got... Yeah. Well, I have an excuse. I'm 80 years old.
Well, we're all on the heavy side.
Well, anyway, though, he's got this. He's got a strange way of throwing. Like when he holds the dart in front of him, the point's pointing to like the floor, which I never really understood why anybody would do it that way. But some people do. What are you going to do? I can't argue with the guy's success so far.
Yeah, exactly.
It just seems like a strange thing to be doing.
Well, I mean, it's just like anything else. So why would somebody have a wide open stance at the plate, or why would somebody?
Well, there's a reason you have a wide open stance at the plate is because if you short stride, you get to the ball quicker.
Yeah, but
when you have to
close
time
stance,
all this,
but
like
everybody has close stance, but everybody's got a reason.
The whole Mel Ott foot in the bucket thing. I mean, that was gone for 50 years, and all of a sudden everybody's standing like that.
The guy's practiced for years. He's found that that's the best way for
him. Yeah. Right.
That's why. I mean, everybody has a different stance in baseball. Everybody's got a different throw in darts.
Okay, yes, that's true. But if you stand at the plate holding the barrel of the bat, and as the pitcher goes into the windup, flipping it to get to the handle before you hit, I don't think anybody would say that's a good idea.
Well,
is all I'm saying. You could do it any way you want, but I mean, some ways just don't seem to make a whole lot of sense to me.
Okay.
If it works for you, great. Don't let any people
don't,
ask
don't
me.
Teach that. To
No,
other
people ask me about my grip. They're like, "How do you hold your dart?" And I'm like, "Well, I'll show you, but don't do it this way."
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing I'll tell them. It's the worst grip in darts. Don't do it this way. It's really hard and la-di-da-di-da. So,
right.
But anyway,
it works for you, but just don't do
well,
it. Don't teach other people to do it that way.
It's kind of weird. I mean, it's like Stephen Bunting's an up-and-comer. I don't know how they pick walk-on songs, but it just seemed to be kind of like a slam on this kid. I mean, he's probably 30. To give him a walk-on song that was kind of like making fun of him.
He doesn't get to pick his own?
I don't know how they do it, but I can't imagine anybody picking a song where the only word you heard was awkward, right? I mean, I don't think he's got an awkward way of throwing, but he does not resemble any player that you've seen on the PDC as far as his style goes. I mean, he's a little different, but it works.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he's a new kid on the block. I get that, but it just got me to thinking about, the way dart players kind of treat each other. It's one thing for guys to you joke around and you get the needle out and stuff like that. Phil Taylor does it on TV all the time. He's needling guys. Yeah, okay. That's fine. Fair game. You needle back, right? I mean, that's like kind of locker room stuff.
Yeah, right.
Right? But it just seems to me that I was remembering a story that somebody told me about John Part. I talked to this guy about darts in Ontario. They just had the PDC Spectacular there, and one of the local Ontario guys ended up winning. And there was some comments I thought were sort of strange. If you look at social media and everybody's like, oh my God, the stuff people put on Twitter. Well, whatever. I mean, at least the dart players on social media are somewhat thoughtful, somewhat, as far as like what they say about this, that, and the other thing. But some of the stuff I thought was a little bit over the line. But whatever. People are entitled to their opinions,
Of course.
But it got me to thinking about this story this guy told me about John Part. John Part went and won the world championship, and from what I was told, the Ontario darters didn't really give him a lot of respect for it. Like, he didn't beat Phil Taylor. He got lucky, la-di-da-di-da-di-da. And it wasn't until he won his second one and beat Taylor that everybody was like, hey, you're the champ.
Really? Okay.
And I remember this has happened so many times. Like, I remember the very first World Series of darts, they had a Chicago guy won it in Virginia Beach. And all the Chicago guys were saying, he went to Virginia Beach. There was nobody good there. He ducked everybody. Nobody really knew it was coming. La-di-da-di-da. Everybody came up with all these, like, reasons not to give the guy credit for what he did.
Well, why weren't they there?
Well, that's another story entirely. There's plenty of people that seem to think that if they played as many tournaments as other people, they would do even better. Well, you're never going to know.
Right.
Right?
Well,
But,
I'm sorry, but when you have a draw and you're, the 11 seed, and it just so happens that the 1 and the 5 seed have knocked out in front of you, all of a sudden you don't deserve it?
hey, did you win or not?
Yeah.
Did you go there? Did you go there and win?
The guy
shouldn't you get credit for winning?
The guy that beat the 1 seed and you beat him, does that mean you just got lucky because you didn't have to play the 1 seed?
Well, this is what I'm talking about. This is the kind of thing I'm
talking.
Well, this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. Like, if you look at and this is where we could talk about Larry Butler's glasses.
Yeah,
right?
After the break, of course.
Are we on a break already?
Well, the other
we just came back.
The other segment went long.
Really?
We can go for a few more minutes.
Well, okay. What I meant
before you get into Larry Butler's glasses, we need to
take a break.
Finish this part of the conversation.
Oh, what are we? Okay. Well, okay, fine. It's like you look at the Darts Live America's Tour stage, and the results are down in the bottom there. I also updated the points race because the America's Tour winner gets money. Whoever's got the most points. It's 15 for first, 12 for second, 9 for top 4, 6 for top 8, 4 for whatever. It's on their website, but they didn't update the standings after the Hawaii stage, so I updated them and put them in the crawl. So Leonard Gates is soldiering along and is now in first.
Right.
And there's 1 to go. It's in Ontario, so it's going to be interesting. There's a bunch of guys because you get 15 for first. I mean. I'm looking at the list there, and it's like, well, okay, Ram Guevara didn't go to Honolulu, and he's still in 4th. But if he wins, he'll have 49 points, and Soldier already has 47. So I don't know, how many guys are really in contention. I didn't really sit that long and think about it. But if you automatically get, I think, 2 points for top 128 or something like that. So, I mean, you're going to have to finish higher than Leonard to win. Leonard doesn't seem to want anyone to do that.
Right,
so,
of course.
But he doesn't have a hammerlock on it. Larry Butler, Ray Carver, Ram Guevara, Larry and Ray are right on him. Mm-hmm. They're only a few points behind. Ram's a little further behind. So it's probably common sense 3-man race between Larry, Ray,
Ram.
No. Larry, Ray, and Soldier.
Oh, and Soldier.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Ram mathematically is not eliminated, but I think and this was the thing that kills me. And this whole thing about a tour, like the CDC thing that they posted today. Well, I'm not going to get into it too much this week. I tried to reach out to Anthony to tell him he was all wrong and didn't
surprisingly he did not respond.
Well, look, I mean, this is the thing that I was talking to with some people about. Like, the America's Tour is only 6 stops, right? But one's in Hawaii, one's in Washington, one's in Ontario, one's in Wisconsin. They're so spread out. If you sit down with a piece of paper and figure out how much all your airfare is going to cost, all your hotel, all your expenses, whatever the entry fees are, I mean, it's going to end up costing you $3,500, $4,000
for all of them
to play all 6.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're not going to play all 6, you don't have a chance to win the prize at the end.
It's got to be at least $1,000 a trip, at least.
Well, I mean, Wisconsin wasn't.
Well,
it kind of depends where you are. Stuff
that's
like
what
that.
I'm saying.
But
If you're closer to Wisconsin, it's going to cost you more to go to Hawaii.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
But I mean, how many players can A, afford that, B, take the time to do it along with, whatever else they do? I mean, the number's extremely small.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they had 64 people in Hawaii. I mean, maybe they did. I mean,
completely believe
it looked to me like it was a bracket of 64, and like everybody had a bye in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, 64 people, and then I looked, and the brackets, they do this, some of the two brackets look really tough, and two brackets, was one name I recognized. This doesn't really mean that the players aren't any good, but I mean, it's like generally I kind of know most of the players that go out and play and do well. We used to read their names on the show all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're just in the crawl, but I mean, I still type them in, so I recognize them. I was like, I don't know who any of these guys are.
Right.
There's two guys that are listed in top 8. I don't know. I couldn't put their state. I assume they're from Hawaii, but I don't know. So I just left it blank. It's like, I don't know who this guy is, but okay, fair enough. But, now they want to start another tour where it's going to end up costing people $1,000 a weekend to play these things. And I'm like, $1,000 a weekend where you're only going to win 2. If you win, how is that supposed to be a good thing?
Right. Doesn't sound like
it's more expensive than playing the PDC stuff where I got $3,000 one year for top 32 when they did the one at the Mohegan Sun. I mean, the PDC lost their shirt on that. I'm not saying that, feel free to offer that kind of prize money, but I don't see how you're going to get a tour successful if you're going to ask 64 people to put up $1,000 within 4 events within like 3.5 months. Well, okay, everybody put in your $4,000, and then I just don't see how that's going to work. I'll have to. I didn't have time to really look at the payouts or anything, but I can't see too many guys doing this.
No, even though it's supposed to be local, right?
And I don't understand. I don't understand the thinking on so many things. I don't understand why you want to start a pro tour. Why don't you start one tournament that's successful? And then why don't you worry about getting it together in the U.S. as opposed to getting it together in North America? Why are we trying to include Canadians and everything? Canadians got their own stuff going, and it's going great. So, I mean, I don't know that they really need us for anything.
Right.
I mean, maybe we need them for the numbers. And again, this is a problem, where you're making decisions for the wrong reasons. You want to get darts going in America, get an American tournament going with American players coming. Don't ask the Canadians to come and bail us out.
No, you want to get the Americans,
for the numbers. Yeah.
You want to get the Americans to play the Canadians and realize that how much they have to improve to beat the Canadians, and then eventually you get enough players and right? I mean, think about it though. You want to grow the sport.
If you want to grow darts in America, then worry about America.
Right.
Growing darts in North America, my God. I mean, we've already got a country that's too big geographically, so let's have North America, which is even bigger.
Right.
How does that help? How does that work? Right? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me why you would even bother with it from the ground floor.
Right.
Right? When you want to start a chain of Starbucks, you don't build 3,000 of them and put them out there. You build one. Then when you get that one going, you build 2. And then you go 3. And then you go 4. You don't start out with 1,000.
And then you go 20. Right.
These guys, they're making the same mistakes they made before. And we'll talk to Anthony about this and get his side of it. But, from what I've seen, it's not going to work.
Right.
It's just not going to work. There's no way on earth it's going to work. It's the same thing that just failed. Except it's more expensive for the players. Outside of that, it looks the same to me.
Right.
So maybe we'll try to get Anthony on the show next week, and he can tell me why I'm wrong.
Maybe you should call him during this break.
Let's take a break. We'll talk about Larry's glasses when we get back. You listen to Dart Talk with Mystery Mark, Steve Poncelmo. We will be back. One more break. It'll be a quick one.
You are now and forevermore warned that you consume this show at your own risk, and that Dart Talk cannot be brought to justice in any court or by any government, including and not restricted to the grand spaghetti monster of the Triple 20.
Hey, back for the fourth quarter of Dart Talk, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
DartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor, and live in the chat, if you guys, I apologize for the chat. I will look into finding us another plugin because obviously this one doesn't work. I don't want to go and use the actual YouTube one because it's too hard for us to, thank you very much. It's too hard for us to monitor, based on how we're doing the show, in the the way we've got things set up. I would prefer to do the chat through the website, but if we can't get a plug-in that works, then we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I was kind of hoping it would work this week. It looks like it's working for some and not others, so I don't know quite what to do about that. So the deal with
I have no idea what you're talking about right now. What did you just say?
Did you totally not hear anything?
No.
Okay.
I did.
And Sparther's in the chat, so hi to Sparther. And he was asking about Warren Perry.
Yeah.
Well, he beat Van Gerwen.
Oh.
And it was a spectacular.
Who is
like
Warren Perry?
He's some guy you've never heard of who
Right.
lives in Australia, and he's just a local player, obviously a good player, who had everything going right for him, and beat Van Gerwen. Van Gerwen didn't average 110 or anything, but he hit what he needed to hit when he needed to hit it, and he won. And it's for the rest of his life, he beat the world champion.
Yeah,
I mean it's like the greatest.
In his hometown.
Yeah,
the place had to be going nuts.
Oh, it was insane. They had a great crowd in Sydney. They're talking about they're already going to be back next year. It was like I think this was their second year, and from what, if you listen to the PDC telecast, I mean, darts is really, growing in Australia, which, that's great. Kyle Anderson, that kid who, threw the 9-darter in the World Championship on his way to losing, made top 4, and, beat good players along the way. He's got a nice way of throwing. He's got a nice, simple, direct, unlike, Mr. Unorthodox. And I see in the chat they posted the guy's song. It's like, makes sense to me. All I heard was awkward. So I don't know if that was the same song that they played or what the deal was, but I just kind of thought that was funny. But, it's funny how darters don't ever want to give each other credit for what they've done. I mean, it's sort of weird. You've never won anything. It's like, oh, really? Okay. I guess I haven't then, And now with social media, it's kind of weird. There are people with a higher profile on social media and have gotten sponsorships.
Right.
Well, the sponsors, in America aren't doing anything. It's all like overseas. So social media is very important in the Far East, but I don't know that everybody really realizes what's going on here. I mean, whatever. But I don't see people getting American sponsorships. I'd like to see that go up. I'd like to see more people get sponsored by American companies.
Doesn't happen at all, really.
Well, no, it happens some.
That often,
no, it happens some. Like Vogue Starts is in outside of Cleveland somewhere, and they put extra money into the women's event this weekend at the Lake Erie Classic, which I was looking forward to going to, and now I can't go, and I'm like, oh man. Started practicing again. I was curious to see how I'd play because I thought.
Because your
thought,
wrist issue is better?
Well, no, it's like the numbness is gone. So, yeah, that cyst is kind of gone too. I don't know what the deal is with that. That's
Lives
been
in
coming
New
and going.
Zealand, apparently.
Lives in New Zealand. Well, good for him. I mean, the weird thing is, that Kyle Anderson may not make the World Championships because he won't be able to qualify from Australia.
It says he's a national hero. It doesn't say why.
Who's a national hero?
Warren Perry.
For beating Van Gerwen. He's not a national hero because, he stopped the invasion of New Zealand.
Was a national hero here in New Zealand.
Okay. Yeah.
So he was. So apparently that means he isn't anymore.
Maybe not read too much into that. I don't know. So anyway, the deal with Larry Butler's glasses, and because we're going to have to wrap this up, was if there's a busier guy, if there's a busier guy in darts, I want to know who it is.
Okay.
He has played this year, as far as I can tell, China, England, Germany, Canada, Hawaii, plus the events he's played in the States, and I'm not sure if he went to Japan. He might have went to Japan, too. That's a lot of travel.
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot of travel.
Yeah. Okay.
Not only that, he had a shot to get the lakeside spot when he went to Stanford. And from what I understand, he was in the same bracket as Widmeyer. And it was between the two of them who was going to go. And had they played each other, that would have been great. But Larry got knocked out by Todd Bumgardner like in the second round or something. So, I mean, Wid ended up making top 4, I think, in that event. So he didn't make that. He didn't get Lakeside. And then he goes to Canada to play in the PDC Spectacular to qualify for Ladbrokes, or it's not Ladbrokes anymore, but whoever's sponsoring the World Championship. And Dave Richardson from Ontario won that one. And I was thinking, and he's gone to all these America Tour things, and he's still got a chance, but he's going to have to. Is he 5 or 6 points behind? He may have to be 2 rounds ahead of Soldier to win it. So if Soldier makes 32, that means he's got to make top 8 to pass him, and he's got to also outdo Carver by like one round. So the 2 guys ahead of you,
it's tough to do.
So I mean, literally, he could finish. He could miss out on all 3, but be in contention for all 3. Nobody's done that this year. So the deal with the glasses, I was like, is he a glasses half full kind of guy, where he's like, look, I'm right there in every single thing, or is he a glass half empty guy, where he's like, my God, I'm playing all over the world, I'm playing every weekend, and I can't win. I don't know how I would literally, if I played his schedule and went to all these events and had the exact same finishes as he had, I think I'd be going nuts. I really do. And to be honest, I none of the British guys travel like this. It's sort of absurd.
Put my mind around it.
It's sort of absurd to go all over the world playing darts, and the British just get to stay home and they're on TV and they're making 6 figures and stuff, and look at what you have to do to scrap around at this stuff, right? And I'm not gonna, I mean, I was trying to, in my mind, wonder, frequent flyer miles, whatever. What are these guys spending on airfare? Because the prize money isn't that great,
right,
for all this stuff, right? The Americas Tour.
Well, that's what I was.
What was it? $1,000 to fly out to Hawaii?
Is it worth it? Is he more thinking about
I don't know,
traveling all over the place and this and that, or is he going back there and crunching numbers, going,
well,
this really wasn't worth it.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna speculate on anything like that, but it was kind of like Ram Guevara was like at the top of the list and didn't go to Hawaii. If you can't make them all, then
why start playing?
It's not then you're not really playing the tour, and it's just okay, I'm going to try to win this prize money and that prize money. I don't see how we're going to be able to get any sort of tour together, because no one is going to do this.
Right.
No one is going to fly to 8 different places.
The reason they have them all in different areas is to try and get everybody involved, right? But then if you can't make them all, you're really only playing your own local tournament.
Well, yeah. But to play 3 of them or 4 of them, why not play all of them? And then I don't understand these guys that went to China to play in the IDF World Cup and then the Darts Live stage, but then didn't go to Ontario to play in the PDC Spectacular. There was a bunch of guys that I'm thinking would have had a chance to win, and they weren't there. And I'm like, what is everybody thinking? I'm going to go play this, but I'm not going to play this. I'm just astounded at, and again, the whole offer where we offered to manage these guys and help them with their decisions. I don't know what these guys are thinking.
Well,
honestly,
yeah.
I mean,
it would be
your sponsors want you to
out.
go to China. That's great, but why couldn't you make Canada?
Yeah, it would be interesting.
How
to
is
find
that
out
not a
their
priority?
reason for going.
Well, again, decisions are made by prioritizing. How is the World Championship at the Alley Pally not the number one priority of everyone who has any ambition whatsoever in darts, unless you live on the East Coast and you seem to think that the BDO is the be-all and end-all, in which case the number one priority for you is Lakeside, right? If those aren't the two most important tournaments in the world for steel, then I don't know what is. If soft tip is your deal, then the world stages are the ones that you want to go. You have to qualify to go to play in the world, but you got to go to France, you got to go to China, you got to go to Macau. I mean, are you serious? Who can do that? I mean, how many people
I don't know.
can arrange it to go and play all over the world? So the creature is way ahead, right?
Okay.
Now, the funny thing is that the winner of the world tour, not the person who wins the actual championship, but at least last year it was, whoever had the most points on the tour gets an invite into the PDC. Have you ever seen the creature play steel?
No.
Oh. Well, the last time I saw him play steel, it didn't go very well for him.
Really?
No, it didn't go very well at all. And I was actually kind of astounded, and I'm like, how'd this guy get in the tournament? That's how bad he played. So, I mean, hopefully he'll do better.
That's weird. I mean, I can't... It's not that much of a disconnect.
I mean, it's just sort of like, that's why what I said was, look, get one tournament together that, get that going before you try two. And instead, these guys want to start another tour. And it's like...
Yeah.
Are we done?
I didn't do that.
Okay. I didn't do it. I'm sitting over here.
Was
that a warning that we're running out of time or running out of tape or what?
Oh, no.
What are we, 10 minutes over?
Yeah. We're fine.
Well, we'll finish up with this. I mean, we'll talk about this next week, and I don't want to, these guys haven't like carved anything out in stone or anything like that. What is going on over there? I feel like
Just
you're
keep
totally
talking and
ignoring
leave
me.
me out of this.
That wouldn't be the first time. No, I mean, the idea that you have one tournament in America and then the winner of that tournament goes to the PDC, that's worthwhile to me.
Yeah.
Right? And they should have it like as late in the year as possible. So we send our best player who's in the best form. That makes sense to me.
Which
means you got to have it in the
right.
end of October or, whatever. Are you trying to catch up with the chat and it's totally not
trying
working
to get
for
it
you?
back, and it's gone.
It's gone. That's just great. Okay.
So
we're going to have to I apologize for the chat. I know you guys we don't mind addressing the stuff in the chat room,
actually chatting this
but
week. So
we actually have to be able to read it. And Mark's getting frustrated over there. I could just tell the temperature in the room just went up like 5 degrees. I'll figure something out for the chat hopefully by next week. You got anything? Well, hopefully I'll have WADA results. Yeah. Hopefully. Well, I don't know.
No, I'm good.
You're going to miss...
Bobble.
Bobble. As he bobbles away.
Bobble.
Yeah, okay. Did we cover everything? I bet you we did the free play. We did the glasses. What did we not talk about? We did the drawing. We talked
I think
about...
we're good.
Yeah, I think we covered everything. So, yeah, the idea, of all this touring and all this travel, for what? I don't know. That's just kind of like how I'm thinking about things these days. And it's like, why can't we have stuff in America? That's my... So all these guys that want to start a tour and everything, that's great. Lord knows, we need more long format tournaments with seating and everything else. We need all this stuff. But, I think they're going to have to look at their numbers.
I agree.
So I'll try to get... I will effort... I'm efforting a couple of people for next week.
Right.
I penciled in somebody, and then this CDC.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, why don't you name yourself after a social disease?
Literally, okay, regardless of... Just get off of that aspect.
I mean, how about calling yourself the American Independent Darters Society?
Stop.
And call it AIDS.
Just get off...
I mean, what are you thinking?
Get off the name for a second.
Okay.
It's more... The name is important, but
it's branding.
It's
branding. No, I'm not sure you do.
Seriously, listen, do you really think people aren't going to... people won't join an event that says AIDS, but CDC, people aren't going to put two and two together as much. They're not going to care.
Fine, so it doesn't matter.
Seriously,
So it really doesn't matter.
you
It matters
really-
when you Google stuff. It matters all the
Are
time.
you really gonna? But if you're trying to grow something and eventually you might change your name, but are you really not going to join because it says CDC?
I didn't say I wouldn't join.
Okay.
I said they're going to have to look at their numbers. I just think it's like if from the ground floor you make 5 bad decisions, how's that going to work out? Because here's what happens: you never change it because now it's on your stationery and it's on your logo and everything, and now it's too much of a pain to change. So you're already stuck with it. I don't know how they came up with CDC, but now you're stuck with it, and I guarantee you they're not going to change it. But it's just sort of like, you got to be kidding me. You're going to put on a patch that says CDC, and people are going to run to get a surgical mask. I mean, it's just a bad idea. It's a bad idea.
Okay.
It's not a good idea. It's a bad idea. And it's bad in 10 different ways, like NAPTA and NAPTA and NAPTA. All that was bad, too. The whole alphabet soup is bad because these people do not understand branding.
Mm-hmm.
The PDC is not the greatest thing on earth, but at least now you know what it is. Okay? That's what I'm saying.
All right.
It's
I-
like how here.
guess
here
I'm on- I
let me
guess-
leave.
I
I
guess
will
I'm
leave
on
with this.
board with that. I
Well,
guess I am on board with
Here,
that.
let me tell you something. I will leave with this. There's a company out somewhere. It used to be in California, and now it's in Texas. It's called Red Eye Rhino, and
Okay.
it's a catchy name that you remember. It has a logo of some angry rhino, and it's like the
Red eye.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Makes
But
sense.
I have no idea what this company does, to be honest with you. That's not the point. The reason I bring it up is because this is how you market. You come up with a name people will remember, and you come up with, like, an image, like a logo, like the golden arches of McDonald's. This is what you start with. Okay? You don't start with any 3 frickin' initials that if you Google it, you get the Center for Disease Control. That's not how you do things.
Okay.
So I don't know who's doing this, but they need to kind of look at this and say, now, wait a minute. Okay? Because now you're stuck with it.
Yeah.
You're stuck with something ugly. The New World Dart Series, I thought, was not a very good name, but the logo was even worse. You got a logo that doesn't make sense and doesn't scan from 10 feet away. It's no good. That's what logos are. Talk to a graphic artist. Meet one in a bar and say, hey, by the way, I was thinking about like a logo for something. What's a good way to start?
How many graphic artists do you meet in bars?
I can think of 3.
Okay.
Go to a bar on River North and by on Madison Avenue in New York. They're all over the place. Graphic artists drink, I'm sure.
Okay.
Get some free advice. Do a
Right.
little research. Go on Wikipedia, type in graphic arts, and read 3
Where
pages.
are they drinking?
Well, no, because like the
No, I
logo
know
they
what you-
put
I-
out,
no,
the
I know what you
logo
mean.
looked okay. I mean, visually it was okay. It's just not. It has no snap.
Right.
I mean, look at our logo for the show, right? Our logo scans. It's representative and stuff. And that was a graphic artist guy that did that, and it probably took him 10 minutes to do the logo that's on the coffee cup there.
Yeah.
It works. It's fine. But I mean, what do you think I would have come up with? I had a dartboard with headphones on it, or whatever it was. I mean,
It's
it's like,
awful. Right.
no, well, I like this one better. It wasn't awful, but it was another graphics guy that did that one, and I was like, well, that looks okay. And he had like the station name and everything because we were doing the WSDI when we started the show and stuff like that. It looked okay, but I like this one better because it's cleaner and you can see it from a mile away, and that's just how I look at this stuff.
By the way, I seem to have lost the chat again.
Great. Okay. Well, thanks everybody for chatting. Thanks for listening.
But do you think it has anything to do with it's over an hour?
No, it's nothing to do with that.
Okay.
It's something that you do that you shouldn't
It's
do.
something that I do.
Yeah, I don't know. No, other guys were having the same problem. No. Sam the intern probably broke it.
I'm
But
sure.
we'll have to email Sam the intern
Damn
and
it,
tell him, see if he
Sam.
can fix it by next week.
All right.
Thanks, everyone, for listening. We'll be back next week, the 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern. I'm going to try to get Anthony Eugenie on to explain the error of his ways.
Right.
I hate ripping on
I'm sure
friends.
he's
I
looking
consider
for-
Anthony a friend,
I'm
but
sure he's looking
he's got
forward
this
to
all
that.
wrong.
Yeah.
He's got this all wrong. So he can, if
But
he
he's
can
not
convince-
alone. It's not just him. He's not alone. This
Well,
isn't
look.
his baby.
Okay, whose baby is it?
Well, but he's got partners in crime.
Oh, well,
correct?
see, maybe that's the problem.
Right.
By the time
But
they
am
all
I-
agreed, it was a bad idea.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So he could throw other people under the bus.
Well, we'll get to the bottom of it next week. I have another surprise guest I'm trying to get for next week. That'll be interesting,
and
too.
it'll be a surprise to me, too.
Yes, I'm not going to tell you. But thanks, everybody, for listening. We will talk to you all next week. Y'all take care.